one issue, and I understand that it's boring, and I was bored of this before I Vyvanced out and fucking read all this shit. I understand it's boring, but you do not have anything without process and procedure. It's cringe and cuck and soy and boring, but the procedure is important. When I was arguing with Fabian and you were talking about freedom of speech doesn't mean anything without due process. You have to understand that, right? Let's say that I have a First Amendment that says I have a right to not have the government obstruct my freedom of speech and blah, blah, blah. And we agree on that. We all agree on that, right? Okay, cool. Let's also say that making violent threats is also illegal. We all agree that should be illegal. For me to go outside and say, hey, we're going to go and Dan and his whole family, let's go. That should be illegal to say that, just to say that, right? We all agree with that, right? Those two things cannot exist in harmony with each other without the ability to decide between the two, which is what the procedure is, the due process, right? If I say, you have freedom of speech, you just can't make violent threats, and you're like, okay, based, I agree, thank you. And then someone says, thank you, that sounded pretty violent to me, lock them up. And you're like, okay, wait, well, obviously, that's not violent speech. And the guy's like, yeah, I think it is actually. And it's like, okay, well, let's figure this out. No, we're not gonna figure this out. There is no figuring it out because you have no due process. There is no freedom of speech without due process. You have nothing without due process. Nothing exists without it, because then anybody on a whim can say anything about anything and ship you off to a fucking labor camp.